like two fires, movement so graceful. Wildcat in the jungle with dangerous claws. Movement she anticipates, a sight is set on her prey. Like stars in the darkest night, crystallize.
Hello and welcome back to my stream. It's quite late on, but I've had some ideas mulling around in my head, and I thought if I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to continue streaming it because that was my aim, to stream the development of this. So I wanted to just do a little bit of work on that practice script again. I was quite excited about the prospects of what we could do with fleets and try to do formations and different spawns and things. So I wanted to keep working on this while it was kind of fresh in my head, and I'm going to come back to the AI control, but I want to do like different types of formations for fleet and setting them up. This is probably going to be one where I don't get it right and I fail, because to be able to work out where stuff is going to take a little bit more than just kind of going, oh yeah, it's over there, and track the X, Y, and Z coordinate. I'm going to have to do a bit more with it. So we'll see where it goes. I'm probably not going to talk as much on this one, just because it's quite late on, and this is going to be one where I just want to kind of work quietly and concentrate, but you can kind of follow along what I'm doing. I've got the close-up for you so you can see the code that I'm writing, and you can just watch along. You can listen to the music that I'm going to be playing in the background as well if you want. And if anybody is in the chat, I'll keep an eye on the chat, say hi, and we'll see what happens. Let's pop out this chat window so I can see it. So I can have this minimized. Right, let's see. Before I make a start, let's go to the big desktop screen so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to grab my scripting notes. There's my scripting notes, so I've got that next to me. I'm going to grab the scripting documentation that Tom's given us. I don't need the object data documentation. I'm not bothered about that. Let's see what I can make of this then. So we'll go back to the close-up screen. We'll get that music playing again. It'll be a little bit louder this time, because like I say, I'm going to be doing less talking. I'm going to start with a nice track. There we go. Do some coding.
Eyes glow like two fires, movement so graceful. Wildcat in the jungle with dangerous claws. Movement she anticipates, a sight is set on her prey. Like stars in the darkest night, crystallize, fascinate. If you wanna stay alive, if you don't wanna be her prey, don't stand in her way. Run, run, run away. Crystallize, 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 watching her prey. Crystallize, 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 fascinate.
She anticipates no chance if you become prey. Two stars in the darkest night, her crystallized fascinate. Her movements, she feels your heartbeat, an animal fear. Her beauty is unreal, just be feet out of here.
If you wanna stay alive, if you don't wanna be her prey, don't stand in her way. Run, run, run away. Crystallize, 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 watching her prey. Crystallize, 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 fascinate.
Alright, what I've just done, I'm kind of changing the classifications in my head as I go along. So I've got my fleet, but actually I want it to be called a group. So I'm thinking of 3 different levels of organisation. There's going to be the individual unit, which is a single ship. Then single ships. So I'm going to call that a unit because it could be any type of ship or any type of thing that attacks. And then those units are going to be grouped into groups. So I have a group of units, and then the groups are going to be grouped into fleets. So the idea behind that is thinking ahead with my AI. I'm going to want it so that drone cruisers gather together and act differently to Krellian cruisers. So if I say, well, I've got a drone cruiser group of 3 ships and 3 Krellian cruisers, that's 2 groups that are making a fleet. But this group's going to act differently to this group when that fleet is attacking. So hopefully what I'll be able to do is build in some more advanced AI where the groups within the fleet behave in a particular way to support one another. So I'm kind of thinking well ahead. I mean, it might be overcomplicating it now. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm thinking of how these different elements are going to work together. And obviously then individual unit. And by doing that as well, I can say, well, the Krellian cruiser group, if that becomes damaged, they're going to fall back, but the drone cruiser group's going to stay there and keep attacking to kind of cover its retreat, or they're going to keep attacking until they fall back. And if 2 groups out of the 3 groups in the fleet end up falling back, the 3rd group will fall back. So you can get, just by thinking it in these smaller sections, I think I'll be able to get more complex behaviours going on. At least that's my hope. All right, so let's have a look what I've just done there. Here, I've been wanting to set up a group leader. The reason why I want a group leader in my groups is because they're the ones that are going to primarily be the ones directing the rest of the ship. So it's there. I'm thinking when I'm assigning AI, I'm going to give it to that ship, and that group leader is going to decide what the other ships are doing. So it just means I have to work with one group leader instead of all the ships together, and the group leader can make the decision of, oh, all my ships together are being attacked and they're fine, we'll keep attacking, or all my ships together now are starting to take a lot of damage, the whole group's going to fall back or the whole group's going to peel off. You could do it on an individual unit basis, so each individual ship could have their own AI and make that kind of decision. But by doing it like that, I think I'm gonna end up with having to be really picky with every ship's behaviors. Where if I have them act as groups, I can be like, do you know what? That group's gonna take some casualties before it starts peeling off. And then I can also feed like the group information into like the fleet information of, oh, all the drone cruisers have gone. That's our long range support. What's the main group? What's the close up shooting group going to do? The Grillian cruisers on their own? Are they going to fall back because one group's fallen back, or are they going to keep attacking because they've got enough strength? So I'm kind of thinking around what what behaviours do I want to see the fleets doing as I kind of build up the elements that I think I need for it. Now, like I said, it might be that I don't need these elements, that I can just get rid of them entirely eventually, or I'm just doing work for the sake of work. But I think I'm going to be putting in some building blocks that actually allow me to use when I'm creating AI. See, now that I've got this group leader as well, and I've said this one's the group leader and the rest are all subordinates, I can start using that when I'm talking about formations and saying the subordinates need to be formed up on the group leader in this way, and then possibly start getting some formations on them, which is going to be some basic AI going on, but will be good. Let's change this script actually. I'm going to increase to 10 ships and I'm going to increase to 100 points. I might set it so that if that's -1, it just gets ignored. Or if the maximum units is -1, it gets ignored. So I could build that into the spawn group. This setting up a group leader as well perhaps should be a different function. So I've got define group leader, pass into it the self. And cut that and paste it in here. And then in spawn group, call group leader. Do I do self.group leader? Unit data in self.group. And then to go self.group leader. So I can change that if I need to later. See, this is where I've not worked with classes or methods. So I'm not as clued up. This is still new to me. But from what I understand, I can do things with the group leader here, make sure it works, and it won't impact my spawn code there. You know, I could even put pass in there and get rid of it entirely, and it won't impact that. Whereas if I wanted to get rid of it, I'd have to go into the spawn group code. Let's see if that still works. We've got start server. Oh, that's because the server is running here. A practice script. It worked. That's so cool. See, the group leader is going to be able to set all the targets that the ships need to go to and where that fleet's going, and then the rest of the group can just be in formation with it. So, like, I might set up some target points. So there's all the ships that have spawned, and I've got one leader and the rest are subordinates. Of course, what happens if that group leader is destroyed? That's the next thing. So I think define reassign leader, enter self into it. Okay, I'm going to work on doing this. So if the group leader is destroyed, the leader gets reassigned based on who's in that group. So that should be straightforward enough to do. I don't know. I'm going to have a think about it as I go. Let's put that music back on and carry on. let's just... So, what we've got here now then is a problem with this. So what it's doing is finding the leader. And then it's checking that leader to see what its death state is. The problem is, when it's dead, it's being removed. As in, I assume when it's dead, that object gets deleted. So, maybe if I do death tick on which the death was started. If death tick is greater than 0. So if death tick is greater than 0, if it's not 0, this unit is in the process of exploding and dying. You see, what I want to do is I want to wait until that's gone. Before I assign the group. Print leader state dot get death tick string of that. Plus that. Let's just do this for the minute. Go past. Let's see what happens with that death tick. So, where is my... There it is. Open up the server. Open up a client. Go to practice script, connect server, weapons, come around here, go forward. Okay, so death tick equals 0. So K27 is my target. Load. Fire. I also want to have, if that unit's dead completely, then I want to remove it as well. F7, death tick is 0. I wonder how many ticks it takes to die. Death tick 1498. Oh, interesting. Line 82. That's that one. See, once it's gone, it can't check it. So that's the tick that it starts on. Let's go leader state dot set. Group leader 0. What if I do group leader 1? No, don't want to do that. That don't make sense. Oh, now there's a way of checking if something exists, isn't there? Ah, let's do that instead. So here... Okay, music's going back on. I'm going to concentrate some more. Could it really be that simple? Check if it exists. If it doesn't exist, go back through the group leader code. Let's see. Let's see what I've managed to do here then. So it's taking a bit working out. There's this going backwards and forwards, but like I say, making lots of mistakes in this and just working things out as I go along. So now I've got a group that will spawn. It will assign a group leader. If the leader's dead, it's going to assign another group leader. If all of them are dead, then the unit state is going to change to destroyed. So I've got a unit state when this is created. I've got a leader when it's created, and I'm tracking the whole group, so I can figure out all sorts of information about this group. Something else I could track, for example, is group strength by using that and comparing it to the maximum, the strength of the group. So finding out what the maximum strength is of that group and whether it's below or above that. I could check the number of ships in the group by looking at that self.group and seeing how many objects are in there. So when that gets below a certain number, something had happened. The next bit, so I've still got these formations that I want to look at doing. So now that I've got a group leader and I will reassign that group leader, I can start doing a formation, because the formation will be all the subordinates grouping up on the group leader. And I think that's the plan. Let me turn this music down in the background. So that's the plan. So it'll be, if you're a subordinate, form up on the group leader, and there's different formations that you could be. So maybe what I'll do is I'll define a load of different formations, and then use this method here to just set the formation and choose from one of those different formations. I'm still coming back to this AI, so maybe formations should go into the AI control. I don't know, but that I've not really touched. So the ships are stupid at the minute, basically. I can create this Krillian fleet, and I can check if the leader's alive or dead. Basically. This is where I create and spawn the group. So eventually something like this will go into the GM console, where it'll be like, right, the GM's going to create this object using this class, and then that'll get added to a list, so then I'll be able to track all the groups there going on, and start building up from there bit by bit. Because this TSN add-ons is going to end up into maybe like a TSN game master script that calls on all this kind of group information. So I'm building a foundation that hopefully will be sturdy enough. I can always go back and rebuild the foundation bit by bit if I need, but we'll see where we go. So next one, formations. See, formation is going to be tricky because I'm going to have to work out distances and headings. I mean, it could be, I could have a formation where they set the same heading as the group leader, so they're all traveling in the same direction. That would work. I can do that because I can do that data.get and data.set. So if I go, if I look at this here, this is my scripting notes. These are the different data types that I've got. But there's something else. Where is it? Throttle, beam count, death state. There's is it up here? Here we go. So I can get the position, and I can get the rotation. And if I go, where are these referenced? Position, tick type, dataset, unique ID, and then I can get the current speed of the object. I can get the data tag, the string name, the string name of data entering the ship JSON. So that'll be like, is it a battle cruiser? Is it a is it a battleship? Is it a Krillian cruiser? Stuff like that. Not sure what to do with that. That's like its push radius. This will be its position. So I can do, what's your X, Y, and Z position? This is its heading. So what I could do is I could go, right, lead is heading. What's his heading? Match his heading. And then this one is whether it's turning or not. So if the leader starts turning, the other ships can go, oh, it's turning. I'm going to check my heading and match his heading again, for example. The X, Y, and Z and W of it, I'm not sure what they reference exactly. Heading and orientation. So I'm guessing... well, you got to think 3D, whether it's going up, down, left, right, and what actual heading it's on. Okay, so I can do that, and then because I can check its position. Now I know Doug, for example, used the position of the two ships, and what he did was he compared the position to the two ships. We were talking on Wednesday about using a bit of Pythagoras to work out the distance between those two ships. So if you know your base and your the side perpendicular to that, then you can know your hypotenuse of your triangle. If you know your hypotenuse of your triangle, then you know how far away that ship is. So you've got, can I do it here? You got, how do I do the pipe? That one. Underscore backslash. So if you know, look, I'm trying to draw a triangle and everything to explain it. Don't know why, nobody's really watching, I think. By the way, I've never ever kind of drawn stuff like this before in text. I have no idea why anybody would want to. If you know that base width and you know the height, then you know that diagonal bit, that hypotenuse of your triangle. Just basic Pythagoras, c squared, which is your hypotenuse, equals a squared, which is your base, plus b squared, which is that. So you have to work out square roots and stuff when we're talking about how to do that and what kind of libraries you might use in Python and this, that, and the other. It's fun stuff, but using that, and I know Doug had written something where actually it works out for you. Just enter your position of one object, the position of the other, gives you the two coordinates, and you can work out the difference in X and the difference in Y, which will give you the difference along there. So that gives you like a 2D one, and then obviously you have to adapt it for 3D. So you'd then go on what I suppose your difference in heights and one of the other positions, and that give you 3D. I'd have to think about that anyway. So once you've worked out how far it is away, then what you could do is you could say, right, keep it so that this distance is far enough away. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it with, like, if the leader's at the front, I want you back left and you back right. For example, even having them in a single line, or like a line abreast. It's interesting because I recently did some figuring out of how to work out the coordinates on a line. So I could possibly use that, because your coordinates on a line is, your y coordinate is the gradient multiplied by your x coordinate, add a constant, and I figured out how to work out each part of those if you knew one coordinate and you knew the second coordinate. No, if you knew the start and the end of where you wanted your line to be, you could work out any coordinate along that line. So I could have, this is where I want my start ship to be, this is how far away I want my end ship to be, look at all those coordinates together, figure out coordinates between a set distance, and then work from that to create a line of ships in any direction. So I could have the ships going exactly in a perfect line behind each other and weaving the way around. That'd be interesting to try and do. And then doing something like that to go a line abreast or a line astern. So a line abreast is where they're all lined up next to each other. A line astern is where you've got one at the front and you're going behind. Put some game footage on for you there. So it's going to be some interesting things to try and do it. A little bit of maths to go into it. And we'll see what happens. Like the current speed as well. Things like match the current speed of the leader will be another thing. Like, you don't want the leader moving away, but then if the leader's moving away, you'll always be trying to catch up to that point that's being recalculated. So increase your current speed above until it where it should be, and then reduce your current speed and just keep adjusting it backwards and forwards. Creating a formation is going to be very, very complicated. But it's going to be interesting. There's going to be bits of maths going into it. There's going to be all sorts of different bits of scripting going into it. Before we even get to this AI of, right, what are you going to do in that formation? You know, I've got this little group and they're in a formation and this is what they're doing. And then I'm going to have this, what happens to a unit in that group, what happens to the whole group. You know, it's going to take a bit to build up this AI, definitely. It's a nice puzzle. Right, I am going to leave it at that. If you're watching after the fact, which I didn't have anybody watching live, that's fine. But if you're watching after the fact, thank you very much for watching. And I will see you next time I am able to stream. I'm not exactly sure when it'll be. I'm probably not going to stream tomorrow because I've got the Artemis shift. But I might stream on the Sunday evening, just the once, because I won't be able to. I need to be fresh for the day after. But I'll try and puzzle this out in my head tomorrow and have another go at streaming Sunday or through next week. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.